Jeff. I'm gonna do it. You can't stop me. I'm gonna do it. Hello and welcome to episode 100. Hello.
Keep on going.
Jeff, nope. Jeff, I can't do it this week. You gotta do it. I'm sorry.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast.
What episode?
I don't know.
He is not prepared, you guys. Look at him. Let's all laugh at him together. All right, Pokemon, get ready. Get ready, Mimikyu. We're going to laugh at Jeff. Hello, and welcome to episode 125 of the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Darby Hallman.
I'm Jeff Mayo.
Jeff, how are you doing on this fine Friday evening?
Tired.
Aren't you so excited to be locked in here with a madman like myself?
At least we have our Poke friends.
We have Bradford here to save us, who is in fact still alive.
Spoilers.
Spoilers, I guess. Bradford is alive. I will willingly spoil that. There are several others who are not. So, yeah. So go watch our Pokemon Shield Nuzlocke. That's a lot of fun. Also, go watch our D&D podcast, Nerds and Dragons, which just posted its 4th episode, which is really good. Announcements out of the way. Jeff, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Are you excited about Pokemons?
Always.
Excited about
Okay, not always. Let's go with just in 2018.
A general yes, but not always.
Yes. Zario is also really exciting. I feel it in my bones. There's a decent chance that we will get a Nintendo Direct next week.
Yeah. Didn't you say there was something like last time they had a Pokemon Direct? There was
there is a trend.
Which also go watch Jeff's reactions to the Pokemon Direct. It's on our YouTube channel. Or on twitch.tv/nerdsatlargegaming where it originally happened. So go watch that. You can see Jeff.
If you're listening to this, you don't have to watch my post Direct talk because it was very rambly because I didn't write this down because I didn't expect to actually be so much stuff in there.
He's ruminated on that, but what were you going to say about the Direct? Sorry.
Reasons to think there's a Direct. A good many times when there is a Pokemon Direct, it is immediately before or after a general Direct by like a week or two.
Okay.
So it's not a thing of, we got this, so we're not getting a regular Direct. Pokemon Company just does what Pokemon Company wants, and honestly, especially after watching this, I think it also makes sense because there's a lot of information in here that would piss people off if that was in the general Direct.
Yeah, this would have taken 20 minutes of a normal Direct, which most of the time would be like half of the Direct at least.
So yeah, that's fine. Also, as far as I said maybe a week or two. Why I think it's this week. This has been a thing for a while. Nintendo Directs seem to be always in the first half of the month.
Okay. Very interesting trends that people like you
that can
analyze.
It can always be broken.
Yes.
But that seems to be the way they go, and I think it just makes sense. Also another thing is Tokyo Mirage Sessions comes out next Friday. So
I didn't know it was that close.
Yeah, so it just getting a shout out there like, hey, it's coming out this week. I think is reason enough to believe next week over other weeks.
I agree with that. Yeah, I didn't realize that was that soon.
Also, if we're looking at trends, specifically, it might be Thursday because apparently the last couple of years, the way Nintendo has done things, all Directs are either on a certain day for the year. Besides the E3 Direct.
Yeah.
It's switching off. Last year was Wednesday. This year seems to be Thursday.
It's just like, I promise you and everyone else. I'm not saying that these things can't be valid because you look at these, but I promise you, like, you and other Nintendo fans are far more aware of these trends than actually Nintendo is. Like, I think you could still analyze them because, like, their thought process might be the same, but I almost guarantee you they're not thinking, like, okay, well, we have to do this because we do this.
Just fun just to add on to it. The only thing that I think is actually relevant is the general Directs tend to also be close to Pokemon Directs. Because people, I think naturally who don't pay as much attention to this, like, oh, Pokemon Direct, so we're not getting a general one this month.
Well, aside from like the E3 reveal, almost every other Pokemon information put out there has not really been part of a general Nintendo thing. It's usually either been dropped randomly or in a Pokemon Direct,
Yeah, there's some nuts in general Direct, but usually it's kind of smaller things, not usually a big thing.
Yeah.
So
true. Well, we will later in the show. Well, actually, now.
Right now.
Actually, neither me or Jeff really played much of note this week. I will be talking about Shantae at some point. I am at the final boss, but I got to the very end, died, and realized I had to go through all 3 phases of the boss again. So I'm like, I'm going to bed. So I'll do that soon. But for right now, news jingle.
Jingle.
Let's talk about that there Pokemon Direct that happened on Wednesday.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
No, Thursday. It was
Thursday,
yesterday.
right. Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. Yeah, yesterday.
As of this recording.
We got 2 things. They said right at the top 2 things. One of them took 2 minutes. The other one took like 18.
Yes.
Yeah. One is significantly bigger than the other. Do you want to start with the first one?
Yeah. Okay. First thing they announced. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX was announced. It is a remake of the original Mystery Dungeon games, and it's coming out March 6th. So less than 2 months.
Right there. And I did see a reaction to that where you're like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Does that... Well, we get too used to, and I was about to do the same thing. We get too used to does that mean they're not confident about it? It could just mean that they want that big turnaround. They want you to be like, oh shit, and go play it.
With Nintendo, I don't really. In this Pokemon company anyway.
Pokemon country. This is a Pokemon
country. So they kind of do their own things with that, and Nintendo in general. Tend to do quicker turnarounds.
So you played this old game. When did this originally come out?
2006. So it was also a thing of, let me double check to make sure I'm not a crazy person.
So was this a popular game back in the day?
Yeah, it was decently popular spinoff. It got multiple sequels.
Okay.
Yeah, it's its own series. So it wasn't a big surprise that we got a new game. Like, they're releasing a new game for it. It was kind of more like, oh, this is a remake of the original ones. So the way they did it, the original ones, if I remember exactly right, like Pokemon games, they did 2 versions. But the way the 2 versions were different is one came out on the Game Boy Advance, one came out on the Nintendo DS.
That's a pretty big difference.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. If you watch my reaction, you might have noticed that I was getting a little giddy because I saw the 2006. That was the year that Gen 4 came out, which is a very heavily rumored to be not really rumored per se, but it's next in line to be remade.
Right.
So
yeah.
So I thought it was that at first, then it quickly became Mystery Dungeon. I was like, okay,
no,
I'm okay with this. Mystery Dungeon games are fun. I definitely put in a good bit of time on the originals for this game.
So you played the Game Boy one?
I can't remember which one it was. It was the Game Boy or DS one, but I did play this one.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So maybe this can also transition into like the fact that you did play this game.
Yes, a demo was Shadow Drop, baby.
Yeah. So what is the game like for people like me who have no clue what this is at all? What is the gameplay like in this game?
Okay, so. I think I've also started with this, Darby, before I get into it and kind of lead into potentially the gameplay. One reason people really like the Mystery Dungeon games is the actual story. I know that's really weird to hear for a Pokemon game, but people really do like the stories for these games, even if they are kind of simple. They're just kind of fun and all that. So
I hear it's like a human being transforms into a Pokemon.
It is an isekai.
Don't know what that means, but cool.
It's another world thing. It's all those animes where a nerd boy gets hit by a truck and gets transported to a fantasy world where he's a god and has sex with all the women.
Yes.
No.
Just the Tuesday.
Yes. But in this case, yes, you are a human who is transported to a Pokemon world and turned into a Pokemon. They do a very interesting thing here, Darby. I forgot they did this. If this is the way they did in the original one. In the beginning, you take a quiz. Or they ask you a series of questions, kind of like an interview. Okay. And they're kind of weird stuff like, or you're not like, what's your favorite color? Like, hey, when you go to bed, do you turn the lights off? And then a bunch of personality stuff like, cool. If someone's getting mugged on the street, what do you do?
Oh, I like this. Yeah.
And based on that, they pick what Pokemon you should be.
Okay.
I think you can turn no, maybe pick something else. I don't know if, but the crazy thing is, I did the quiz. I got the Pokemon I was going to pick it. I wanted to pick anyway.
What was it and what Pokemon is
Mudkip.
that? Nice.
I love Mudkip.
Yeah, I was about to say, Jeff, no looking online to like cheese the questions. You answer honestly.
No, but you're able to choose your partner because in these games you get a partner that's kind of shows you around the world and all that, so you can pick that. I picked Eevee as my partner.
Hell yeah, you did.
They had a good many Pokemon, usually just the starters, and then a couple kind of popular Pokemon from the generation.
Ghastly's
not one of them. I think they wanted to pick ones with legs.
That's legist.
but they paired interesting ones like Cubone and Machop and stuff as playable characters. Also, something important because this is in 2006. I think this was before Gen 4 came out. It's only the first 3 generations of Pokemon. But in the trailer, they're adding post Gen 3 stuff because I think in the trailer, I didn't notice it until you rewatched it on here right before we did it. Lucario was in there, which is not original, and you saw Charizard Mega Evolve.
Yeah. Okay. So
they did updates it somewhat.
Yeah, it's a mix of a remake and
I know they added some the quality of the life stuff from later games. Like that's what it originally looked like, and then you get to where they show the art stuff for the new one, and it is gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's just like a cool storybook thing.
Yeah, I really do dig the art. Like, I haven't even looked at the old one, so I don't really know how this compares to the old one. But
big difference.
Like,
it's a Game Boy Advance game.
Yes, I mean, like, was it like pixel art?
Yeah, I mean, you look it up. Yeah, it's
like,
kind of.
Okay. I dig this kind of like almost like watercolor-esque in times.
Yeah.
Like it definitely, like you said, it's like a storybook type thing. So what is the demo you played? So you chose your character.
Did that? You woke up and do all that. Your partner's there. You talk some. She's like, "Oh, you silly you! You're confused because you say you're a human." And then,
so you're talking to other Pokemon?
Yes, the Pokemon talk. And what is really, really, like one of the things that I really like is when they're like down there, you see them talking. Yeah, they have different artwork for the different expressions and stuff, and I really like it.
That's good
because you see an Eevee with a very confused face and all that. Nice. It's just kind of small things like that I really like. That kind of add to the charm of this game.
Okay, so this is what it like.
Yes.
Okay. Do the Pokemon are they ever like making fun of the humans?
It's a weird thing. Like with these games, because I can't remember. I don't know if they ever reference it. Like, it seemed like Eevee knew what humans are, but they're like no humans around at all. Like Pokemon are living in their own towns. Like they have economy, Darby. Pokemon economy.
Huber.
So yeah, and so what you're doing is the story starts by a Butterfree comes up to you and be like, "Hey, help! My child, who is a Caterpie still, is trapped in a dungeon or whatever. Can you help?" And you go do it, and then you start with the whole dungeon gameplay and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
so then, all right. So how's that gameplay like when you get in there?
The gameplay is a dungeon crawler. You're moving around the dungeon. You got a map. You got to go lower in the dungeon to get to where you need to. It's randomly generated every time you go in there. As far as items and enemies and all that kind of stuff, it's one of those things where the enemy doesn't move unless you move. So if you're not moving, you can kind of thinking that your enemy's not going to do anything.
Okay.
And each Pokemon has 4 attacks that you can use. And you can either kind of press the button, do like an auto attack thing, and it seems to randomly choose one, or you can pick specific attacks. And choosing is obviously good because it still does the whole super effective and not very effective and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Which kind of sucked with Eevee because Eevee's a normal type. And I looked at move list. I think I picked the 2 Pokemon with the most boring move list. Like all of them have these like a bunch of newer moves and a more variety and all that, but
yeah. So are you choosing like moves for like a party of Pokemon, or is it like you have one you're leading with that you're attacking with?
So you're walking around. It is kind of a thing. It's not turn based or anything.
Yeah.
So you just picking your attacks as you go on and all that. Your partner Pokemon follows you around and auto attacking and attacking on its own. But at any time you can press the plus button and switch between them.
Okay.
And you can get more party members and switch between them at any time.
That's the biggest thing I wanted to know. Is like, if you could switch around. Like you had a party that you could switch around to.
Yep. Yeah. And I can't remember. It's one of those things because one of those games that I did play. I really liked it, but it's been so long that I have trouble remembering exactly. All the little details. Can't remember how exactly you recruit Pokemon. If it's all story stuff or you can kind of have a choice of who you recruit and all that.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, it's a very fun game. It's one of those things, though. I don't know if now it'd be able to keep me entertained gameplay wise throughout the whole thing.
Yeah,
because these games are like 25-40 hour games.
I was also gonna say, at least on Kind of Funny Games Daily, they seem to confirm that it is a $60 game.
It is a $60 game.
Do you think you think that's too high?
Here's the weird thing about the whole six. Yeah, it is a remake of a Game Boy game. But it's one of those things. Brand obviously affects the way
100%.
Things are received and decides the company. All that. It's one of those weird things.
If this was an old Digimon game from that time period, I don't think it would be $60.
No. But I don't know. Also, a way I look at it is a game that you get 25 hours on minimum if you just play through it of content. And while I don't think time is the end all be all, because you got like Resident Evil, just example that popped in my head. That's a shorter game. That's $60. And I think that's worth the price. It's a whole bunch of factors.
Yeah.
But I'm also someone who thought Link's Awakening's price was fine.
Well, so. I was gonna say I do think that like Link's Awakening, just with everything and how like acclaimed that game was and it coming back, like that kind of like made more sense to me. Not that this completely doesn't make sense to me, but after this game is also $60, I kind of feel like pretty much any remake Nintendo ever does is going to be full price, even if it doesn't necessarily shouldn't be. I would just stop expecting, not that like criticize them and don't buy it if you don't want to, but like I would expect Nintendo is pretty much going to charge full price for almost every game they make at this point.
Yeah. What are they about?
The fact that Pokémon right now is still at full price, like we talked about.
Yeah, I really want to get that game, but it's hard to justify. I'll probably at some point just say screw it and do it, especially since Pokemon was not announced.
Screw it and do it.
Pokemon was announced in the direct. I was honestly thinking Pokemon 2 was a very decent chance.
Yeah.
But getting back to Mystery Dungeon, I think more than Link's Awakening, I think it being $60 will hurt this game more.
Yeah.
Because it is a Pokemon spinoff. There are already people that think the mainline Pokemon game shouldn't be $60, which has been a big controversial thing as we'll get to the DLC. But this game is a really fun game. It's a game I don't think I'm definitely not going to get right away. Yeah. But it's also one of the fortunate things I'd like to get it at some point because it's charming as hell, and I know I would have a lot of fun with it, especially just as a Switch game. Like, while I'm playing like Final Fantasy and Cyberpunk and all that kind of stuff going on, like while I'm listening to podcasts or anything like that, where I obviously don't want to do that stuff while I play those games, but this game, having that stuff on when I play it, it's fine. So who knows? I might end up getting it at some point. But the $60 price tag makes that less likely to me personally. I do think the $60 against $40 things. I think more than Link's Awakening, this will hurt its sales potential.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I feel like at least just Link's Awakening. I mean, maybe it's just the circles we're in because Pokemon is by far a bigger name than Zelda is. By far. So maybe it's just the circles we're in. There was way more hype for Link's Awakening. Maybe Mystery Dungeon. I mean, just anything with the Pokemon name. Moms walking in Walmart might buy it anyway.
Oh yeah, that will definitely happen. But I think
$60.
I think a difference from an optic standpoint, and this is kind of still more of our circles thing. Like moms, like you said, and kids, they don't give a crap. Yeah. But this is Link's Awakening is a mainline Zelda game. This is a spinoff.
Yeah, it might feel weird that the main Pokemon game I just bought for my kid is the same price as this, which just feels smaller in general, you know. And
well, to be fair, that's always been the case because they were always on handheld, so they're always both $40.
Yeah. Yep. It's not the same. I'll be interested though. I mean, I can see it selling surprisingly well. It'll probably just sell like well enough to justify making it, and even justify putting it at that price. I don't think it's gonna like blow up because of that price point. I think that price point is gonna hold it back from. You know.
I definitely do want to potentially get this game at some point because just seeing the way the towns look and just all the Pokemon in this are so kind of just gives me the warmth.
I mean, this game looks just visually like better than Sword and Shield. I mean, it's kind of cheating because it's one of stylized.
Yeah, this is one of those art style things.
I'm not saying I want this style to be this what they
Darby,
do.
We got an early front runner for art style of the year at the Game Awards. It's not going to be nominated.
It's not going to win that,
but I would potentially make the case. We'll see at the end of the year.
We'll see.
To be nominated, or he probably got art style.
I think it looks good, but let's not get carried away. There are games where I'm hyped for that I could already say will probably be better than that. But yeah. All right, well, let's move on to the bigger thing. We already got 20 minutes of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon out there. How about that?
Strap in, folks.
All right. What was that second thing, Jeff?
The DLC expansion pass for Pokemon Sword and Shield. Darby. And it will include 2 parts: the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra, and the expansion pass altogether will cost $30. So there is some people have been very confused.
So everyone, get your pitchforks ready.
Very confused about what exactly this $30 or whatever means, and people, it's been a weird thing.
Set them straight, Jeff.
There is a separate pass for Sword and Shield,
right?
That are $30. If you buy one of those for $30, you get both of the content things, Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra. Right. But if you want the DLC for both games, you got to pay $60. Which it's one of those things like they are technically 2 different games, so it's kind of whatever.
Yeah, I mean it's no worse than the 2 different game thing already was. You know, where it's like Sword and Shield. I mean, because already to get all the content in Sword and Shield, you had to buy both games twice. So. It's one of those things I just kind of thought about it. I'm not trying to defend Game Freak in any way when I say this. I'm just thinking of it. Like, have there been games that if you buy one DLC thing, it works for multiple SKUs? You get what I'm saying? Wait, what?
I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Like, most games don't have multiple SKUs.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Like, Pokemon's a pretty unique thing where it's literally the same game, but it's 2 games, but it's the same game. Like, that's
no. I just wonder. I mean, they would have done this decision anyway, but I wonder if it's one of those things that's technically feasible without doing some kind of weird work.
I guess there was the Fire Emblem Fates, that 3rd campaign you could buy. When that there was a DLC campaign that you could buy.
Yeah, but I think you could access that from I guess you could do it from both. So yeah, I guess.
I think no matter which one you bought, you got that same 3rd campaign. I think if you bought the DLC.
Got it, Darby. You found the one.
I won.
Okay. Anyway, moving on to what's included in this pass. There are going to be 200 Pokemon, older Pokemon that aren't in Sword and Shield added in the expansion. They're going to be about 100 in each part. Something very important.
Yes.
You can trade between people who have the expansion and not have their expansion and all that, and you can add Pokemon through Pokemon Bank for your previous games, even if you don't have the expansion. There will be a patch that adds technically Pokemon in the data so they're usable on your game.
So these 200 old Pokemon are not locked behind the DLC paywall for just having. Like, so if you had an old game that you had put Pokemon to your bank, these new Pokemon, you can get it in the base games without buying anything extra.
Yes, very important.
Yeah.
Let's see. Something I'm very excited about. Each area in these 2 DLC packs will be like the wild area. Mm-hmm. They're pretty much the wild area, but a lot more interesting. Yeah. Where there's actual structures and stuff going on, and it's like one cohesive world instead of just a bunch of random stuff going on. This big open plain.
Yeah,
which has me very excited because obviously I think this is them already taking a step towards the next gen. Like this is how Pokemon games are generally going to be.
That's what I was going to ask. Is do you think this is a pretty good indicator that this is the direction they're going? And like, do you expect the next Pokemon to just kind of do away with even routes and some of this other stuff and just be more of an open world?
I expect it to be more open as far as the routes. I expect there to be some routes. It might be one of those things they just keep because it's Pokemon and that's tradition and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But I feel like there's less routes in this game. I think they'll continue lessening those routes. And honestly, as far as like, normally I wouldn't care about the whole route things, but the only reason I would care is because of Nuzlocke, and that just makes things simple.
Is that what this is? Is that, that's, I don't know anything about anything when it comes to Pokemon. That's what I take it's all going to be like the wild area. Doesn't that just means that it's all going to be open?
Yes,
like with Pokemon Overworld and no routes, right? That's what that means.
Yeah, but in the wild area, if they keep this, I'll be okay. But just from a Nuzlocking perspective, once you kind of cross an invisible line, you get a new area name. So they're kind of different areas.
Yeah, and
different Pokemon will be in those areas. Yeah. So they keep that kind of stuff. I'm generally okay with this anyway, because. I don't know. It's more visually appealing, like more like an actual.
It's literally just Nuzlocke. This is the only thing.
Yeah, it's the only thing I'd really care about with this. So,
yeah, I think overall that is a cool thing. I do hope this wild area is a little more visually interesting than some of the wild area is a cool concept, but kind of just like so many things with Sword and Shield. It only really feels cool because Pokemon has never done this before. When you start comparing it to like literally any other JRPG or just RPG in general, they're actually still pretty behind the times. I hope this one is.
Yeah, I think it'll be a step up in the way. It's kind of like I said. I think it'll be because it'll technically be like, for example, the Isle of Armor. It'll be like one cohesive island. Actually feel like it's just one island, or at least that's what it looks like. Instead of technically there's this big open area, but it's kind of separate because suddenly you're in a desert and you walk and suddenly you're in snow. Yeah. And that stuff might still kind of happen here as far as the weather changes, but at least they'll still look like the same island.
Yeah.
So
makes sense.
That is a big step in my opinion. Something you'll like, Darby. That's for characters / customization items.
Let me customize. Let me have a stylish trainer. Singer-songwriter, challenger singer-songwriter Lord's gonna be looking fresh.
Well, unfortunately,
she's not gonna be looking fresh.
Unfortunately, I will go ahead and say this now. If you're a fan of our Nuzlocke, we will not be able to continue the Nuzlocke with this DLC as much as we would probably like to, because I'm not paying another
unless you want to give us $30.
Yeah. Because then we have to, because they're technically on separate accounts, my file and the Nuzlocke file, we would have to get the DLC twice. And
could we just go on your file and put all your Pokemon in the box and catch new Pokemon, do a new DLC Nuzlocke?
Technically, we could. As far as that, we could.
We'll talk about it.
Well, honestly, something I was thinking about doing, I was thinking of going Ask Ketchum style with these things and just go into these areas just with my starter and just make a whole new team with just Pokemon that are in this area.
That'd be fun. That'd be a fun way to immerse yourself in the DLC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what I think I might do.
It'd be fun. Yeah.
And, honestly, if you wanted to, we could do that.
We'll talk about it. Yeah, it could be fun.
We can do a similar thing. We can do some crazy workarounds and trade Bradford if he survives into my file and do the same thing. We just start with him.
Can we just trade our whole Nuzlocke team over to your file?
Honestly, if you want to do that at some point... we talked about it before. All I need to do is do the free trial. We can trade to Alex, and Alex can just trade to my regular account, and then we're good.
We'll talk about this off air. Yeah. But maybe we'll do something with that.
Yeah, I like to keep our Nuzlocke team if we can. And then moving on to what's specifically in each DLC pack.
Yes.
The Isle of Armor, which we has a lot more information about because it's coming out much sooner. This one's coming out in June. Crown Tundra's coming out in fall.
Yeah.
The theme of Isle of Armor is growth. So you're on like a little training mission. It has a little dojo. Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm just gonna stop right here. All this information, right? Most of it's coming from Cerebi.net.
Good site.
Joe's a good dude. It has a dojo run by the trainer
Mustard.
Yeah,
The man's name is Mustard.
You guys should watch my reaction to when they say his name for the first time.
Yeah,
It's great.
I'm excited to go back and watch that.
And you will face new rivals, including Clara in Sword, who is a poison user, and Avery in Shield, who is a psychic user. So what's really cool about this, I thought they were originally going to be like gym leaders because they're wearing the uniform. You know, we looked at Nuzlocke the other day at the shop in the gym where it shows the uniforms for all the different types.
Yes.
They're wearing those uniforms.
This is where
they're in training to be gym leaders for those types.
Wow.
So it's one of those things where they're kind of going with the whole gym thing, and I love it.
So maybe they will be a gym leader, maybe by the end of the DLC.
Yeah, potentially, or if they do like a sequel type thing for Sword and Shield at some point, they could be gym leaders.
Yeah.
I don't know, for example.
Are you happy with our Shield dude?
Yeah.
I think he was the better one. He has the like Pokeballs floating around his head. Weird magician man. I like it.
Yeah. Let's see. You train along the new legendary Pokemon Cub Fu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's alright.
Is that right?
He's alright.
Cub Fu evolved into Urshifu, which has two different styles.
Urshifu's cool. Yeah.
I don't know how Urshifu exactly works with the two styles, but one of the styles is fighting dark, and the other one is fighting water.
Yeah.
So
somehow two different versions are there. I mean, there's several Pokemon that evolve in different ways depending on weird different things, right?
Yeah. But we'll find out later how those work. This special adds new tutor moves, allows for apricorns to be made into Pokeballs, and introduces the experience charm, which increases the experience points your team receives.
What happened in the doc there, Jeff?
For some reason, that's the way it was on his thing. I copy and pasted.
Okay.
That's why I had to give him credit.
Yeah, I don't know what those things mean, but
yeah. The dojo also contains restricted sparring, in which you'll be limited in what types of Pokemon you can use and forced to battle under set conditions. This sounds dope.
permadeath is the.
I don't know about permadeath. So pretty much, Dari, we were talking about, I guess also, we're saying potentially a little mini series thing we're talking about doing. You picking a ghost team, I catching those Pokemon, you using them. It's pretty much that, but in an actual official gameplay sense. So pretty much it's like, hey, you're doing a thing, you can only use this type of Pokemon.
Yeah, so is this basically just like a challenge room?
Yeah, it's like a challenge thing.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like they're gonna have restricted things,
yes.
right? Yeah. So I mean, it sounds like maybe this is where we know the game is so ridiculously easy that it's kind of almost breaks the game. So we're gonna shove all the difficulty into this challenge room, maybe.
Potentially, yeah.
Which I guess that is cool.
Yeah. I'm curious to find out more versions. It sounds like it could be fun. This Isle also adds Gigantamax forms for starters. Yeah. One of those things where I kind of agree with people. Man, this should have been in the base game and not behind a paywall.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to not have the most important characters have Gigantamaxes.
I would feel differently if in the base game only old Pokemon Gigantamaxed, but lots of new ones do too. So why not the starters,
Isn't that kind of random which ones do too?
A lot of them coincides to what a gym leaders or a rival's ace is. And then then some other ones like Snorlax.
That's one of the biggest things that it kind of feels like, well, we got to have something to sell the DLC for someone who's not sold. We got to have something to put up there. It's oh, here's your starter. Out of all this stuff, that feels like the most well, let's just save that for the deal. Let's hold that back.
Yeah. But it's also, yeah. But as far as the Gigantamax forms, I like them. I like how Rillaboom or whatever his name, Bradford, Grookey's Final Evolution for people who don't know our Nuzlocke names. He's just giant behind a drum set, and then he has vine hairs with other drumsticks.
It's pretty dope.
And
it's pretty great.
I like Scorbunny's evolution, where it's just Scorbunny with longer ears on top of a giant fireball with a face.
And then Sobel's one Sobel's like a sniper rifle.
No, he's a sniper on a tower.
Yeah,
that's dope.
It was really cool. Honestly, I think as usual the fire is the least interesting. I mean, it's not bad, but
yeah.
But
I don't know if this will change things, but Score Bunny's evolution is all about him being a soccer player. So that's where the giant ball comes in.
Yeah, we made the right choice.
Let's see. Yeah, that's all for Isle of Armor. I guess I'll give.
So we really don't know much about story for either of these, right? We do know that there is going to be some. I mean, not that. Who cares? Honestly, who cares? But there is going to be some story element to those, right?
Mm-hmm. Should be some, definitely.
Shouldn't say who cares. I don't care. The story in Pokemon is pretty garbage, but
something mystery dungeon. Let's go. Also, kind of cool thing. Mustard is apparently Leon's old master. He gave him his fashion sense, you know.
Yes.
Obviously. Let's see. The Crown Tundra. It's the second one that's coming out in the fall. The theme is exploration. You're on like an icy mountain thing. It has dens where you can team up with friends and stuff to find legendary Pokemons. All the legendaries.
How does that feel?
Seems cool. A lot of people are like, shit, the meta's fucked.
Everybody can just get
because they're specific Pokemon that fuck things up. There are these Pokemon called the genies. One of them in particular completely dominates the meta, and people were like, as far as the optimistic side of Dexit, like, okay, at least he's gone. And now they're bringing about, it's like, fuck.
It's now gonna be some Pokebands, I guess.
Yeah,
in the competitives.
And the legendary Pokemon in this is Calyrex. A weird rabbit thing with a giant tumor on its head. And Triforce beats.
Maybe it's just me, but he doesn't look very legendary. He kind of just looks like a Pokemon.
I get the legendary vibe. It looks kind of like a mystic kind of thing.
I don't know. Just because of the balls, I feel like otherwise he just looks like a weird ram/rabbit Pokemon thing. I don't know. I didn't think I wouldn't look at him and be like, oh, he's this legendary ancient Pokemon. Like, if we just ran into him in our Pokemon game, I'd be like, okay, yeah, there he is. It's Pokemon. But
it's Pokemon.
That's just me.
Oh, okay. The thing is, we got some new Pokemon. The new Pokemon seem to be new Reggie Pokemon. I know that means nothing to you.
Not a thing.
Yeah, they're these Pokemon in Gently called the Reggies, like Reggie Steel, Reggie Rock, and all that kind of stuff. Reggie Ice. They have like Braille on their faces.
Like Braille is in like you read.
Yeah.
If you're blind. Okay.
Yeah, and there's a lot of Braille stuff in Gently. So the new versions of those, it looks to be a Electric and Dragon one. Seems to be the new ones. We got some new Galarian forms. We got Slowpoke, a Galarian Slowpoke.
Nice.
Who you can actually catch right now if you beat the game. I did immediately. I went and caught me a Galarian Slowpoke. It is just psychic. It looks just like Slowpoke, but a little yellow on its tail and some yellow on its head and stuff, and that's it. It's just psychic. It just removed its water typing. I believe.
So it's worse.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what its evolutions go through. They, as you saw in the thing, they were showing the concept art things, but kind of blurring out or scratching out some stuff for Galarian Slowbro and Galarian Slowking. And they said the way Slowpoke evolves, to Slowbro is you find a certain item in the Isle of Armors. In the Crown Tundra, you find an item that evolve into Slowking. Because Slowking always had two evolutions, or at least after Gen 2, so they're just using that to like, hey, we can do this, so, people can evolve Slowpoke to a different thing in each one.
Yeah.
And we also got what is believed to be Galarian forms of the three legendary birds from Gen 1. Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres.
That's cool.
Yeah, and those look really dope. Do you know what the legendary birds are?
I think I've seen them all before. I mean, I don't know anything about them. I think I've just seen them. Yeah,
definitely. Because some people are like, "Oh, these are just new Pokemon or something related to them." It's like, no. When they show all the legendary stuff, they did not show the legendary birds. It's like, no, those are just the Galarian version of those, which is dope.
I thought they were new Pokemon, but I'm not familiar enough with
the designs are really cool, and they seem to be, the change to them seem to be more drastic than most regional variants, which is cool. Yeah, especially since the legendaries and all that.
This is the first time they've gotten other forms.
Those, yes. Also, I think this is the first time that legendaries have gotten a regional variant, which is cool.
Cool.
And finally, as far as the new stuff, we got some new Gigantamax forms. Venusaur and Blastoise joining Charizard and getting them. More Gen 1 pandering. Yeah. The designs look cool and all that. But Venusaur's is his flowers just big and droopy, like and covering him up more.
Big.
And Blastoise seems to get more cannons, which, it's fine.
He did need more cannons.
Yes. And then Urshifu is getting Gigantamax forms.
Yeah. He's new karate man. Right?
Yep, new karate bear.
Karate bear.
Soon, Darby, we need one more bear line, and then we can have a whole bear team.
I am the bear man.
I am the bear man.
And that was a Pokemon.
So, yeah, generally, I really like a lot of the stuff that's going on here. We obviously need to see how it's going to be and all that, and how much is actually in here. This is actually, didn't say it yet. Seems they confirmed this is replacing the third game.
Which is definitely a lot better. I mean,
yes, thank you. Because real talk, I'm pretty sure I've said this to you. They released the third game. I wasn't going to get it. I was not going to pay $60 more.
Full price.
To play pretty much the same game again with some little changes.
Yeah.
That's usually what the third version is.
Yeah, it's not even really usually like a new area or a new quest line.
Well, sometimes there are. There usually is some of that, but it's really usually... I mean, some are more than others, but a lot of times it's really not that much.
Yeah.
Based on what they showed here, and we need to see how much what this adds to the game seems to be more substantial than anything third versions have added.
Yeah.
And there might be one example that's has more than what we've seen, but whatever. Just generally talking, this seems to add more, and it's cheaper because it's half the price of a whole new game instead of buying a whole game again.
Yeah. This feels like a much more modern version of this thing, which is it's very frustrating because I think people just took the DLC thing on its face and be like, "Oh, Game Freak is EA now," completely ignoring that this is like a infinitely better deal.
I never seen people argue so in favor of having to buy a very similar game again.
I mean, I think it's just because it's DLC in general, and people just want to be mad. But anyway.
Yeah. But I also think the price is good for this based on what we see. If it looks as good as it is, because $30 seems to be in line with a lot of people generally charge for expansion passes,
especially if you're getting 2 new areas, right?
Because both these DLC things are part of the $30 pass.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's cool that you get both with the one. I mean, I could have seen them splitting it up.
Yeah. Oh no! I would be calling out their shit if they were
each.
If they were separate and it was like $20 to $30 for each one, and I'd be like,
yeah,
then all right.
That easily could have happened, but
yeah. And I think all this is fine. I think this is really good stuff. What's exciting is we kind of get another year of Pokemon hype with this game. As far as I'm sure there are gonna be more Galarian forms than what we've seen, which are fun. I don't think they're really gonna be any other new Pokemon than what they added. They usually don't add too many Pokemon after the main games come out in third versions or otherwise.
Yeah.
But I can see them adding some more Galarian forms, which I'm all for.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
Another year of Pokemon hype. This definitely, I think, Darby, by the end of all this will definitely be my most played Pokemon game in a long time.
Especially with you're already about to beat it for the second time on our Nuzlocke.
I'm already 60 hours between the two.
Yeah.
2 files. Which I've had a lot of fun with both ways, so
yeah.
I'm all for it.
That's good. That's good that you spend that much time in it and still enjoy it. I mean, it's because you have me there,
Yeah.
Yeah,
there definitely adds to it. And we need to do the next session soon, Darby. We're ready.
You're really itching to get back, Jeff?
Get it over with.
The punishment wasn't enough for you.
Darby, let's take it down a little bit.
Oh boy, yeah, we've been too happy. We've been having too much fun on this podcast.
Okay, so Darby, this is what's going on.
All right, settle in, guys. All right,
settle in. Story.
Get down real slow. Keep your voice low. They're listening.
There's a studio called WB Montreal, and there's this character named Batman who gets games every once in a while. WB Montreal has made a Batman game and heavily believed to be making a new Batman game, but instead of fucking announcing the game, they're teasing it A lot. Like,
again.
yes. Batman Day was close to 6 months ago.
Oof.
Like 4 or 5 months ago. And they're just teasing again with some pictures and stuff. Fucking show the game. Stop doing this. I'm okay with teasing, but the announcement has to be imminent.
Yeah.
Or at least obvious when it's going to happen.
Obviously, I think a lot of people could be like, but, you could point out like, oh, but you like, Cyberpunk teasing things or this teasing things, but you don't like that or whatever. There's... like there's at some point you have to be aware of the perception and talk of your game and just realize this is not the one to be teasing, just with how many times this has been up and down, and to like, why do the thing at Batman Day? Why not just start now with your teasing? Why tease the like go silent forever and then just tease again? And this is after just like year after year of like, is this happening? Is it not? They come out and say like, hey, we're not ready yet. We're not ready. It's just like, this is not the right game. And also, like, it even makes a little bit less sense if it was, sadly for WB Montreal, they kind of haven't earned this level of teasing. Rocksteady, if Rocksteady teases their next game, it's still going to be kind of infuriating, but at least Rocksteady is kind of the big dog there or whatever. I don't think WB Montreal really has the legacy to do this much teasing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
No, I don't disagree. This is so frustrating. Honestly, Mary's going to bring this up. Thought maybe we talk about this. It's just kind of like, this is the wrong way how to lead up to an announcement of a game and the wrong way to tease and all that. Because we've talked about
it's just too
recently,
much.
Yeah, recently too much, or recently of how people should do like, trailers and stuff, how they should announce games.
I love that discussion.
Yeah. This is just one of those things of pointing out this is the wrong way to tease. You haven't even announced the game. We know what it is. We know what it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing if like for example, Sekiro at the Game Awards, whatever that like prior year they had did that FromSoft Shadows Die Twice cuts away and that's it. And then the entire internet was like, well, what the fuck was that? Like, we're going to discuss this. Like, okay, we know it's FromSoft. Is this Bloodborne 2? Like, I don't think so, because it doesn't really look Bloodborne. But I don't think it's Dark Souls. Is this some remake of Demon Souls? Is it this other, like, thing coming back? It was, like, a lot of, like, okay, we know it's FromSoft, but, like, speculation. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? Don't really have that here. I mean, like, there's speculation on what exactly the game is going to be within Batman and Court of Owls and everything like that. But we pretty much know what we're getting. Now it's just a matter of like waiting to whenever we get to see
when they fill out that
trailer,
full picture.
It's have to like wait through all of this after like already having teased it before. It's just like you said, it's the wrong one. Like the cat's out the bag, let's go for it. Just go ahead.
Yeah.
You need to realize you fucked up your reveal. Let's just drop a trailer.
Yeah.
But that being said, throwing all that out the window, unless you have any more to say about the just marketing of it, but are you interested in a new game potentially in the same Arkham universe or whatever and involving Court of Owls? You would know more about all this. And did you play all the Batman games? Did you play Origins?
Yes.
Okay. So are you interested in a new WB Montreal Batman game?
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
No, it's also exciting is to see. I know you've seen some of it, Darby. I don't know if you've seen this picture yet, but they have a little thing or whatever. Where they added the thing that the pictures from or parts of the picture from all the different social media accounts made, and there's 7 different slots on there now. Oh wait, I'm sorry, 8 different slots on there now that still need to be filled. People are, and I think this is, are thinking the outside part of the circle are different like organizations that are like enemies per se, and the 4 in the middle are playable characters. Because the rumor for Batman games have been there going to be multiple playable characters, and they have been in the other Arkham games. Yeah, even if some of them have been DLC.
Do people recognize those 2 symbols, or are those completely foreign, as far as like in Batman lore or in DC lore?
I'm trouble telling. I think one of them was the GCPD, maybe. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've heard people say that it's probably like it's going to show all these different organizations, and then it's basically going to be like the Court of Owls controls all of them. Like the Court of Owls is behind everything. Like it's going to show all these different factions, but then it's going to be like like shadow organization.
Yeah. Sorry, just give me 1 second.
Which is interesting. I mean, the last Batman game came out in 2015, right? It's Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
So it's been a minute. I don't know. I think it'd be interesting, but it doesn't worry me because it already has been. This was already like 2 days ago, right? So it's not like they're doing one a day because we didn't get one. So how quickly are they going to do this reveal of these 9 different?
I don't know. I mean, I'd feel better if I feel confident that like during the PlayStation meeting that we're probably going to happen next month that I think it would be announced there. But I don't know. Just fucking announce the game.
But you're in for whatever it does.
Yeah, it's still frustrating.
Do you know much about the Court of Owls or any of this stuff? Like, does that excite you? As
I think it's very
bad
interesting.
guy organization. I mean, I think all the other Batman games pretty much had like a central bad guy, right? Or they had like a character as a bad guy. I mean, like,
kinda. I mean, the original things like Joker is kind of the main bad guy, but with Arkham Asylum, like especially in Arkham City, like you're in Arkham per se, like especially in Arkham Asylum. So you're going down around this insane asylum where all Batman's villains are locked up and have their own rooms and that kind of stuff. Right, so kind of thing. And with the Court of Owls, for the most part, they're not really. In most I think all iterations of them, they're pretty much a bunch of old people that run Gotham, like from the shadows for like hundreds of years. They're the rich families, right? So they're usually not the ones that are they're fighting. Yeah. They hire people.
Yeah, which is cool. That could be a very cool thing. Yeah. Are you Arkham Origins supporter? I know a lot of people. Yeah. There's like people who love it and people who are like, nah, I just want to play the Rocksteady games.
I honestly feel like it's one of those things they wouldn't get as much hate if it was literally like the exact same game but had Rocksteady's name on it. I feel like it'd get less hate.
Yeah, which is dumb.
So,
all right, moving right along.
Okay, Darby. Next we are talking about the PlayStation 5 logo.
Megaton, Jeff.
Megaton. Biggest announcement of the year, if we're being honest. No, CES was this past week. Microsoft and Sony both had presentations. Microsoft showed off the Xbox Series X butt.
Yep. Nice butt shot.
Nice butt. That was the butt of a console.
Very good butt. Very thick.
Sony had a little PS5 presentation. We didn't know exactly what all that would entail. But they did get some sales information, so I figured we'd bring that up real quick.
Yeah, some pretty impressive sales information.
106 million PS4 sold.
106 million. We knew they crossed the 100 million mark. Didn't know by how much. Apparently, 6 million is how much. That's a lot of god dang PS4s, Jeff.
Yep. 1.15 billion games sold. So an average of about 10.84 games per console. A lot of games. 5 million PSVR units sold.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's overall pretty good.
Yep. Still, I think the most for VR things, but might have a contender once Half-Life comes out.
I imagine that is still like overall from when they very first released PSVR below their expectations, because there was definitely a lot of inflated expectations about what VR was going to do for gaming, or at least just how fast it was going to like change gaming. And I think that definitely has not happened. But if you like had a revised outlook, then I think that 5 million is pretty good for PSVR. Yeah.
Yep. 130 million MAU monthly something probably users or whatever on PSN.
Monthly active users?
Yes.
There we go. We cracked the code.
And 38.8 million PlayStation Plus subscribers.
I'm slightly, well, I guess I'm not. I was gonna say I'm slightly surprised it's not like more than that, because that's like a decent amount less than half, and like you have to have that for online. But there probably are a fair amount of people that just bought a PS4, barely ever use it, played a few games on it. So overall, some pretty impressive numbers. To getting at the end of this console generation, obviously it's gonna continue to sell, even into the next console generation. But even if we're approaching like somewhat near the ending numbers, still pretty darn good. It puts the PS4 in some pretty crazy, stratosphere of top selling consoles of all time.
Yep.
And it's just why it's weird, because we're getting old enough now to where we've been following games closely since this thing came out, the whole time. Like when the PS3 and the Xbox 360 came out, we were at least a good bit younger and weren't paying as close attention. It's crazy to see how much of a direct effect that Xbox One E3 had on this generation.
Yeah.
Legitimately, we watched that and we saw the funny videos being shared and everything. It's like, oh wow, it's crazy that disc that PS4 did back on them and everything, and just all the questions coming out and mixed messaging with Xbox. Legitimately, I think the PS4 was going to sell incredible regardless, but that had a factor in this.
100%.
100%. It's crazy and kind of cool that we witnessed that, and we had no clue how much of an impact that was going to have at the moment. And it's weird to sit here in 2020 and be like, damn. That was one of the biggest marketing fuck ups that I have ever witnessed from a company.
Some say E3 doesn't matter.
And at least, legacy wise, it absolutely, at least, it has impacted a lot.
Yes.
Which, you wouldn't think of something that big, like individual game sales or individual game, how something is done. Like E3, it seems like could affect that, but this was an entire company's trajectory, and they're hard to wear. Microsoft is a different company right now, or at least Xbox is a different brand right now because of that. I don't think Game Pass probably wouldn't exist if not in the form that happened. Yeah, a lot of things like that wouldn't have existed. And Sony would be completely different if Sony was still neck and neck with everyone. The whole industry would be different.
We'd have Knack 4 by now,
which is so fascinating to see. We're going to start another one. I'm excited for a new generation, but we'll get more into that.
Before we get to that, Darby, we have a game.
Oh, we got a game. We're bringing back the game. The game master's in the house. Lock your daughters up. He's coming for him.
So, Darby,
I'm not prepared. I'm probably going to do real bad.
Darby, what is something we love? What's a game series we love?
Sly Cooper.
No. Yes, but no.
You asked the question and I answered the question.
Super Smash Bros.
I guess it's all right. It's all right.
So, Darby, we both love Smash Bros. We both follow our Smash things.
Yeah.
So I got some Smash Bros. Trivia.
Oh, God.
I have 5 trivia questions.
Oh, boy. Waluigi's in the game. I got question 1 right.
Okay. I think this first one's a pretty easy one. What playable character technically made their debut in a video game in Smash?
Smash was the first time.
They were
ever. I want to say Rob, but that's not my final answer yet. Because he wasn't in a game, I don't think, because he was. Yeah, I'm gonna say Rob.
That's not what I really meant for it, but no.
Oh wait, then what did you mean?
There is a character that before their own game or anything came out for, they were in Smash first.
Okay, then let me re-evaluate. Rob was not in a video game. That's why I thought.
No, he was a peripheral.
I thought you meant that.
You're technically right, but that's not what I meant.
Okay. I just want you to know the way you worded that question. Yeah. I was right with that. Okay, then I gotta rethink about this though. So they debuted in Smash before they were in any other thing.
They were in Smash before they were in their own game.
So they weren't in a game at all before then, or whatever. Or they got their own game just after that.
Yes. This is a character. That game was coming out, but technically they were in Smash first.
Okay. Yeah, it would be Corrin then, right?
Nope. Corrin was out in Japan first.
All right, well, I got this wrong.
The answer is Roy.
I would have gotten that. I would have guessed a bunch of. I never would have gotten that. So I missed the easy one. I'm gonna miss every single one of these. So what is the story behind Roy?
Well, it was just the thing. That game was coming out, and Roy was just an easy.
They just put the new character in there. Yeah, I'm gonna get every question wrong.
What characters were the first characters announced for each game?
Oh God, yeah, I'm absolutely not gonna get this right.
So there are two ways for you to think about this. One, just remembering the hype cycles and trailers and stuff. Another way is mainly for the early games.
Yeah, I'm not.
What are the first ones for each game for the numbers, because they have them in order.
Yeah, I mean,
so you got 5 characters.
I mean, so the first one's gonna be Mario, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So GameCube. So we're saying like the first new character.
Yes, the first brand new character. The first newcomer technically announced for each game.
It was Luigi, right? Luigi wasn't in the original 8.
He was.
Right? He was in the original 8.
No, not 8. He was original 12.
12. There was someone like that though.
You're on the right track as far as series.
Was it Yoshi?
Yoshi was part of the original 8.
He was. Okay, I can't. I'm telling you, this seems like this would be a good game, but it's not. I honestly, I don't know. Is it Peach wasn't in the original? Was it? I don't know. GameCube.
That's the Melee.
Okay, got that one. Brawl.
That's the one I figure you're gonna have the most trouble with.
Yeah. For some reason, I thought Luigi wasn't in there. I barely played 64, so. Brawl. There's just too many newcomers. There's too damn many of them. And I wasn't paying attention to the marketing cycle back then. So I mean, was that whole reveal event with Snake and everything? Was that the first time it was shown?
Yes.
I have no clue.
Okay. The answer is Meta Knight.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten that.
Meta Knight was the first one to reveal in the trailer. In that trailer, and it was a crazy thing. Meta Knight, Pit, which was crazy because gone for 20 years.
Yeah.
Zero Suit Samus, Wario, and Snake.
And Snake, yeah.
Crazy times.
Yeah. Especially all those were already crazy, and then Snake just is a fucking atom bomb and all of this. All right, I'll try to speed up.
You got Smash Wii U and Smash Ultimate.
Smash Wii U. I think so. This was. I'm just trying to think the timeline. This was after I mean, so there weren't. Okay, yeah, Sonic and then. The whole first one is just really hard. I don't know. We need to move on.
Is Villager.
All right. Yep. Smash Ultimate, the first one. I mean, Smash Ultimate had the whole it revealed everyone. So was it the first one that was
first newcomer announced for Ultimate? Who was it?
I mean, it would be one of the. Well, it would be Ridley, right?
No,
because they did the whole everyone's here, and then
that wasn't the announcement.
Inkling.
Yes.
All right, let's move on.
Oh boy, this is gonna. Okay. There are 8 series in the game that have multiple characters or completely unique movesets. What are they?
You have to say that again. What?
There are 8 series in the game. So 8 series represented in the game that have multiple characters with completely unique move sets. So no, what we consider part clones or echo fighters or all that. Ones with 2 completely distinct move sets.
Okay.
There are 8 series.
So Fire Emblem, Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, Metroid. Yeah, I was gonna say not Metroid, but there are 2.
There are 3 of them actually.
Yeah, well, 2. There's one that's a clone.
Zero Suit.
I know, like
Ridley.
Ridley. Yeah, Ridley.
3 more.
Yeah. It's just hard on the spot. There is. So it's in Mario, Pokemon.
Give you a hint, for 2 of them, think the original 8.
Is it Donkey Kong counts separately? Yeah.
Because Diddy and King Carol unique.
Yeah.
2 more. One might be related to a character for an answer for the last question.
I already don't remember. Kid Icarus.
That's the one I figured you were gonna miss.
Yeah, Kid Icarus. One more. Kirby.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go. I figured you were gonna forget about Kid Icarus. Yeah. That's the one everyone's like. When you go through these franchise Mario's out of Metroid, DK, Pokemon, Fire Emblem, Kirby, Kid Icarus. One stands out as far as
absolutely does. Yeah. All the rest of them are like kind of going concerns for Nintendo right now.
Yeah. Okay. Which 3 playable characters were originally assist trophies?
Ooh. Playable character originally assist trophies. I don't know if I can get all or any of these, but Little Mac was one, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
The first one to make the jump up.
Yeah. We all thought Shadow was going to be one.
Yep.
We all thought that was like a slam dunk, but no, it was not. Are they big ones? I'm trying to think. I'm just trying to think of what was even. I would feel like there would have been a Pokemon, but I don't think there was one that made the jump.
Okay, technically Charizard made the jump, but it's age.
I didn't know the Charizard was an assist trophy at some point.
He was a Pokeball, I believe, in the original game, 64.
But that's not one of the.
No, that's not one of the 3. So kind of a little hint, because assist trophies premiered in Brawl, it has to be a character that made their playable debut in Wii U or Ultimate.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Because really too bad I got another hint, but I might give it away.
It pretty much has to be Nintendo characters. Really, because Brawl Time, I don't think they had many outside of that. I don't know.
Okay, let me say it this way. Neither of them were assist trophies in Brawl.
Wait.
So they were these 2 were assist trophies in Wii U / 3DS.
And they were new characters in 4, or in Ultimate, or wait. So you said they were assist trophies in 4, and then they were new characters in Ultimate.
That was my way of saying that. Yes.
I mean, like Ridley wasn't any sort of assist trophy. He was like
he was a stage hazard.
Yeah, he was a stage hazard boss thing.
Uncle Ridley,
yes. Uncle Ridley was good. I don't know. I'm sure I'm going to scream, we need to move on. Go ahead and reveal
Isabelle and Dark Samus.
I did not know Isabel was one. I should have gotten Dark Samus. I did not know Isabel.
Isabel's usually threw food at you.
I probably was just like, oh, it's an Animal Crossing. I honestly didn't know who Isabel was until the lead up to Smash, whenever everyone was expecting her to be announced. I honestly God didn't know who Isabel was. Like, just another Animal Crossing character.
Okay, final question. Which game, counting DLC, has the most amount of newcomers?
Kind of DLC. Like, I feel like the good answer would be Brawl, but I'm going to say 4, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
This is how it breaks down. But you're wait. Yeah. Wii U 3DS 21.
Wow.
64 had 12. Melee had 14. Brawl had 18. So if it wasn't for DLC, that'd be correct.
It was close, yeah. Brawl because Brawl was the biggest, like, oh shit, Smash is like, that roster's getting big.
The more I get older, the more I'm like, that Brawl newcomer roster is just...
Like, obviously Ultimate is insane now because like the things we're getting are crazy and everything, but if you think about like Brawl, like this game was not that, like, that was fucking crazy.
I mean, Snake and Sonic alone were crazy, but even the Nintendo newcomers like Pokemon Trainer and DDD and Meta Knight and all that kind of stuff,
and Pit,
and Zero Suit Samus and Wario and all that, and Olimar,
fucking Rob.
I mean literally that. And Diddy Kong, that game just added most of the obvious omissions.
Yeah.
So
and stuff that I'm sure people had.
And finally, Ultimate, as of right now, has 17. This all included Echo Fighters and stuff.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that is still a good many for Ultimate, considering that Ultimate also pretty much added way more than that because it brought back characters that had not been around since like Melee. So.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Sorry, I severely underperformed. I expected that.
Sorry, Darby. From now on, I won't expect any more from you.
Yeah, you should expect less of me. All right. Well, let's move on. Let's move on to our last thing. We're gonna talk kind of about general 2020, kind of like we did last week with Nintendo. We're kind of going to do the same thing with Xbox and PlayStation, looking at their 2020. And I think, obviously, this also means kind of a next-gen conversation. I think that is the primary thing that we're looking at these two companies for, that we're not looking at Nintendo for. They might have new hardware, but there ain't no Switch 2 coming on. I would be pissed.
I would be upset.
Very upset.
People are wanting a Switch 2. I'm like, the Switch hasn't even been out for 3 years. What the fuck are you talking about?
I just bought this thing. Why are you so eager to spend $300?
Seriously, especially when you got to pay like $400 to $500.
I know. Yeah. I'm already not looking forward to having to buy. I mean, like money wise, buy these new consoles.
Well, good news is we have parents. We have parents, right? Other people don't. So yeah.
All right. Well, Jeff, do you want to? We can go off your questions here. Like we're already starting to talk about next gen. So let's talk about next gen. Why don't we? So as of this moment, both consoles, both the Xbox Series X, well, not all three consoles, but it's weird. We'll get there. But the PS5, the Xbox Series X, and then we also know that there is 2 SKUs for the Xbox. There's like the higher end, the beefy one console, and then there's going to be a cheaper, the beefy boy. There's going to be a cheaper, potentially streamy boy.
Streamy boy.
For the casual flips out there, and that is we know both of them exist. We have seen the Xbox Series X. It is a giant tower. We have not seen the other one, right? Really, in any way. And we have not seen the PS5.
I mean, as far as I know, I don't think they haven't. I don't think they've announced the Series X. That's just a rumor that kind of, in a way, been weirdly confirmed because they call it Series X.
But you mean they haven't announced? I mean, they've announced Series X.
No, yeah. They haven't announced the weaker streamy boy.
Yeah, I mean, they just said Project Scarlet, but we don't. I guess we don't know which one is Project Scarlet.
Project Scarlet is the Series X.
Okay, we do know that is that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Making me question things, Darry. I don't like it.
I didn't know what was what.
Yeah, I think the whatever the weaker one code name was hasn't been officially confirmed yet.
No.
It's just the whole rumor thing, and the fact it's called
pretty much know.
Series X makes this thing okay. Yeah, and they kind of say there's going to be other ones, but they haven't officially confirmed it. So
right. So we can start at the beginning. Yeah, when do you think we're gonna get more information on both of these consoles? I think let's start with Sony because I think it's a little more interesting, a little more up in the air,
I'm kind of with people where I think we really could get that PlayStation meeting thing or whatever the hell it's called next month, as early as next month.
Yeah,
maybe March.
That makes sense. I mean, because there's rumors, and I really do fully believe. I do think that Sony is going to skip E3 again, and as me and Jeff were talking about before, kind of like slightly more of a like kind of out there thing. Like I really don't think. I think Sony is never going to be at E3 again. I honestly believe that's it. I think they're never going to go back again. And kind of as you said before the podcast too, if they're not going to be there the year the PS5's launching, then they probably are never going to be there again. I mean, if you were going to be there, that would be one of the times.
Yeah. We don't know if they're going to be there or not yet, but only time will tell.
Do you think that matters much? Do you think that it is an unwise thing to release a console and not be at a big show like that, or do you think it's not going to matter all that much in the end?
So the positive negatives of it are, I mean, it's hard to think of necessarily big giant positives, especially for us as consumers, but I know there's positive for Sony or whatever. I imagine they are going to have a state of play or some equivalent around that time. The only thing that makes me wonder if they'll actually not do it or do something is the fact that I think it's important to have it playable. Get in people's hands, let the press get a hold of it and all that. And if they're not at E3, when will the press at large be able to get their hands on it? Because most of the gaming press will be at E3.
Yeah.
Getting their hands on it. And they'll be getting their hands on Series X, like for sure, 100%, no doubt in my mind.
That's the big thing about it.
Yeah.
You're going to have a big event. E3 is getting less big, but it is still, there's a lot of eyes on it. And you're going to have all the press in one room, and they're going to be talking, even if they were able to play PlayStation somewhere else or whatever, you're going to have everyone at once talking about Xbox, and especially if it's a good thing, if they're like, holy shit, this thing looks...
Yeah, and they have a good conference and all that.
Yeah, obviously the PlayStation 5 is still going to sell really well, regardless, I think. But I do think that this type of, the way that they're revealing the PS5 could potentially open the door for Xbox to have a much better start to this gen than they did last time. Mm-hmm. And I agree. I do think they're going to have that event probably next month, and I think press probably will be able to get their hands on it either next month or at a future event later on.
100%.
But like you said, it's not going to be as consolidated of a thing as E3, and this is a bit weird of a console just release. Or at least just like hype cycle buildup. It does feel like it's been a little subdued, and that's not necessarily bad, but it's a different strategy with the like Wired articles. That was a really weird way different way and very kind of like low key way of revealing a console.
Well, I just had a thought though, as far as it not being played on PS5 at E3. Just because Sony's not there, that doesn't technically mean PS5s won't be there. The third party people, they can show it off on potentially PS5s. But I think they mainly do that on dev computers for a lot of things. So
yeah, I think they don't usually like pull out the actual console to put out there.
So I don't know. It was just kind of depend. But even then, the whole consolidation thing, Sony's first party games still won't be there when everyone else is. I'm sure they'll definitely have their own kind of event thing. Either it'd be the meeting or something later where they'll have people there, but it may not get as many people physically there.
Like overall, I think, and I think maybe you'd agree with this, I think Sony not showing the PS5 at E3, I don't think it necessarily like hurts Sony and Sony's sales of the PS5 at all, but I do think it helps Xbox.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, I don't think that they're going to like suffer any, like, I don't think they're going to really like losing sales by not being there. But I think by not being there, it kind of opens the door for Xbox to have more success, which, maybe is a direct correlation to them having slightly less. But, yeah.
I think it was because I don't see too many people buying both.
No. Yeah. And I do.
At least at first.
I do think the PS5, I mean, obviously because of the worldwide thing, like even the PS3 outsold the 360 because of worldwide. But I even think in America, I have very little doubt.
In America.
The only place that matters, am I right, USA?
Yeah. Fuck everyone else.
In PS5, I have no doubt in my mind, or very little doubt in my mind, that the PS5 will sell better in America as well. Like, immediately and always. I don't think the Xbox consoles will ever be better, partially just because of how established the PS4 is now. Like, everyone has PS4s. A lot of those people are just going to buy PS5s because that's just like, that is gaming now. And because Microsoft is taking a much different approach where they are kind of openly telling people like me and you don't need to buy an Xbox, just play all your games on PC. Like, and they're okay with that. Like, they're obviously okay with that enough to where they're offering like Game
Still
Pass
gonna get our money.
Yeah. So I think the console sales aren't going to matter quite as much to Microsoft, Yeah. At least I would hope so, because their policies go directly against the hardware sales.
Yeah, I know people are kind of just worried about that based on that. It's like, oh no, they don't sell as many consoles. It's kind of even Phil Spencer's like, okay, thanks for your concern, but we got this kind of thing. Like, we know what we're doing. And I think the fact of they've been doing the whole Game Pass thing and just kind of going further in that direction for a good while now means, hey, they're seeing some success, or at the very least, they're seeing a path to success.
Yeah, it very well could be one of those, like, you offer a crazy, crazy deal to just penetrate the market, and then you slowly change it from there, or slowly make it more expensive, or whatever else. But at least for the moment, it's pretty damn good. It's very interesting, these two companies, because like one of them is kind of taking a very traditional, or a much more traditional route to a next gen thing, where it's Xbox is a lot more like, who knows,
Well, going with that, Darby, you just want to throw in the Matt Booty thing in here?
Yeah. Throw in the booty, Jeff.
Throw in the booty. So pretty much Matt Booty, pretty much, works at Xbox, all that. He knows his stuff. He knows the inner workings. Pretty much said that for the next year or two, or whatever, at the very least, all Xbox Game Studio games are going to be cross-gen. It's not going to just be on Xbox Series X. It's also going to be on Xbox One as well. Also, of course, PC.
Yeah.
So people are also like, well, then what's the point of getting the console and blah, 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 blah. Which I think for some people that's a fair thing. It's like, well, I don't have to get the console then, whatever. But Microsoft is still going to be making the money from the game sales.
Yeah, and I do think, I mean, it's not that dissimilar from what happens a lot of times. I mean, like with every console launch,
here's the thing where I think people see the distinction of this and what happens in the past. A lot of times when people do it in the past, it's usually third parties doing it. A lot of times, first parties, generally Xbox and PlayStation, they just do make things just for the new generation. And Nintendo kind of does that too, but they've dabbled in cross-gen, obviously, with big games like Breath of the Wild and stuff. But but it seems, I'm sure there are some examples of cross-gen stuff, because that just kind of happens sometimes. But it seems like for the most part, Sony and Microsoft, once the generation starts, that's where their games are going, and that only. Which
I think I'm almost certain that will happen with PlayStation.
Yeah, I think that will. And yeah. Obviously, they're planning on doing that. Halo Infinite, which will probably be maybe their biggest game in the next 1 or 2 years anyway, is going to be cross-gen. So
yeah, I mean that one's happening like at launch. That makes sense to be cross-gen because it's coming out right at the beginning. My biggest like concern with this type of thing would be when we are several years into it and you're making like more complex games because you're primarily making them for much better hardware. do you get situations like, I mean, I played that freaking Dragon Age PS3 version, which was fucking terrible. I mean, it ran terrible, and also if you looked at the graphics, it legitimately, like, it looks like a different game. Like, there's sometimes you can see like graphic like differences. It's like, oh, if you like look close, you can see this or whatever. This straight up, like the model just, it looks like two different games that they made. And I worry that you are either like, you'll either constrain some of your games for longer, or you'll be putting out inferior Xbox One versions.
So here's my thing with that. I mean, I agree with you that that's the thing that 100% happens. But you look at the games they have announced right now, that stuff they've announced at their XO 19 event and all that. Most of the games they have announced so far are kind of seem to be smaller budget, sometimes more artsy games or whatever. But then, they're the ones that can both. I know what you're probably about to say. You're probably about to say Hellblade.
And Obsidian's next game, like big game, like Outer Worlds 2 or whatever.
Yeah, but those games, remember, said 1 or 2 years. Those are farther off. Hellblade, he said very early in development. So I can see Hellblade being the cutoff point. Like, this is the first.
Right, yeah.
Or maybe one of the first. Like, Obsidian's Outer Worlds 2, they're just starting on that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
That's going to be past the 2 years.
If you did say 1 or 2 years, I thought you just said a few years. Or,
he said, I rather call it 1 or 2 years. So,
that makes sense.
So I think as far as the games they're putting out, I think it's fine.
So that statement doesn't mean as much as it sounds like it means.
Potentially, yeah. But again, they're going to announce more games between now and the launch of it. So there might be some games that
Fable
are pushing.
4 is going to be cross-gen.
Darby, I know it's the things we keep on believing in it, but I do think it's...
I do think it's happening.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think that's a very good once or beforehand or E3 announcement, like, this is going to be on next gen, get hyped.
It'd be awesome. I mean, I'll be playing on
my
PC.
Yeah. So that doesn't affect us, but it also means they're putting more juice behind it than it would be just been on Xbox One.
Yeah, which that would be a good thing overall. So do we want to talk about? All right, let's talk about Xbox going forward with the Series X. What do you think Xbox's E3 looks like this year? And do you think we have any new information until then, or do you think that's the next roadblock?
That is a very interesting thing, Darby. Yeah, I'm not as sure of them. I do think Sony's going to have their own event. I could see they have Inside Xbox. I know those things are generally big, but I can see them having a slightly bigger one.
Yeah,
not where they show off more stuff. I do think instead of having a big event before E3 time, like around March or something, they might do it because they figure Sony's doing it, so they might throw something together. But I do think we're thinking the PlayStation meeting is for Sony. That's what's going to be for Xbox during E3, especially if Sony isn't there. It's a thing of at that show, Xbox is their pick of the litter for next gen games, third party games to show off. So I think that's when they're going to do their giant blowout. And we've already seen the console. We saw the back of it and saw all the ports and stuff. I know it's like, oh, there's just that kind of stuff, but those are some stuff that usually don't show up to those big events. So besides games and the price and all that, there isn't a crazy amount that they really, really, really need to show. There's some features they need to show, but
I mean, it also depends on if that second SKU is coming immediately or if that's further.
But even that kind of stuff is like, even if stuff that fits, I think, right into a normal E3 conference where it's like they can show a whole buttload of games and show the stuff, and it's not going to be just about the next gen console. Yeah, solely.
My prediction, and I mean, not 100% confident about this, but my prediction right now is that GDC happens in March. I think that there's an initial thing in March at GDC. Like, this is not going to be the big blowout, but I think this is going to be something like either like introducing the second SKU there, or just showing off more of Xbox Series X and maybe letting the developers there, letting like media and developers there like get some hands on. I think there's going to be some like introduction there to like lay up to the E3 like big thing. Yep. And I think if the second SKU is coming out at launch. I do think the second SKU could be something that comes later. If it's coming at the same time at launch, then I do think that somewhere in this GDC E3 thing that I'm setting up here, I do think you introduce that second one. I don't know if like E3 ends up being like primarily centered around that second SKU, or if you like kind of do both. Like I don't know. Like do you see them trying to message both of them at the same time to launch the same day, or do you see that being staggered more? Because I could see it being either way.
No, I can see it being either way too. But I think you may, right, or be a smart thing to go. What you're saying about having if the second SKU is at launch as well, somewhere in between, pretty much GDC or before E3 or something. Yeah. Because you want to blow people away with your E3 conference, potentially muddling it and confusing people with a second hardware thing where you're just introducing it. Might not be the smart play. At least because for a lot of people, it's no matter when they announce it, it's probably gonna be initially confusing. But you can get that out of the way early or clarify what you need to during the event after it's already something people know exists.
Right.
And then, people will remember the games more than being confused about a second SKU.
Yeah. That's honestly my biggest concern. The biggest thing that I'm skeptical about, or just like a little uneasy about, is the two SKUs and the when holiday 2020 comes around and people are shopping for these things where it's like there's these two different Xboxes. What's the difference? One's way more expensive than the other, whatever. And then there's just PS5. I'm a little concerned about that, but also I could totally see this being something that like we look back in the podcast and me saying that and be like, that was cute.
Yeah.
It's like, what was he so worried about? Phones do this all the time. And Darby's not sitting there saying like, but people are going to be confused about what iPhones are. This very well might become something that just people get,
I think I will say this. If I was had a gun to my head, Betty man, whatever, I would say maybe the second less powerful streaming SKU or whatever comes out later. Just because the people that are wanting to jump on a console day one are going to be the ones who get the Series X.
The only thing about that is there's a chance that means that Sony's sitting there with a cheaper price point for the PS5. Because from what everyone said, like the Xbox Series X is more powerful than the PS5. It looks like super insanely powerful. And there's like the Digital Foundry, other people who know a lot more about this than us, have all said like, yeah, I don't know how you make this with this console with the power that it has in it for anything other than under like $600 or something crazy. There's like they probably will because they'll take it at a loss. But I do think there's a good chance that the PS5 is at least somewhat cheaper than the Xbox Series X. So if that is the only SKU at launch, I do think that hurts.
Fair.
It definitely. I mean, and maybe they'll just take that much of a loss. Maybe they'll cut it all the way down to 500, like even with the PS5.
The whole. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. It's one of those things that I feel like I'm more right, but Xbox One was 500 to begin with, right?
I'm gonna look it up.
I remember, if I remember right, it was a thing of Xbox One was 500, and PS4 was 400. Yeah.
Original Xbox One without the Kinect bundled went for $400 at launch. The revised Elite model with the Elite controller went for $500. So they might have both been $400 at a base model. Sorry, go ahead with what you were saying.
I know the PS4 was 400.
Yeah, they were both 400.
Okay. I could have sworn that part of it was.
I think it was probably with the Kinect. It might have been.
And the whole thing is.
Well, that was the Elite thing or whatever. But yeah.
Okay, so I think I'm actually remembering right, and it was the whole thing. Yes, the Xbox One did come bundle Kinect, and you had to have had the Kinect. It was also one of those dumb things like you had to have the Kinect. So it was 500.
So it was
because that was one of their things that Sony's thing. They're like, I think they might have ended something with it. Yes, initial price of $499.
Yeah.
So that was one of those things. I don't think they let that happen.
How fucking stupid was that? How stupid was that?
There's a reason they lost this generation, but at least they made strides to make up for it. I don't think they tried. I think they try their best to make sure that doesn't happen again.
I do too, but I
know there's only so much you can do as far as that, because I know you don't want to take the big loss, but
from the way that people were, I mean, again, who knows? But the way that people are making it sounds like this box might be so powerful that like that's unreasonable to cut it that much. But maybe Xbox will do it anyway. I mean, I think that Game Pass is kind of unreasonable how cheap it is for what you get. I mean, Xbox is obviously willing to take losses right now. Yeah. So maybe they will. I mean, especially if like the console's not their centerpiece anymore, not the only thing. You know, it's fascinating. Though. Yeah. But also on the complete other side of that, if both of these SKUs do come out at the same time, what if you have a new Xbox sitting there at $100 cheaper than the PS5? You know, if you have that small like lower SKU, then you have moms shopping for their kids in there that sees, hey, this one's $100 cheaper. I'm gonna go with this. You know, and there's a chance for that as well. So
no, I didn't see it.
It's so interesting if there is the two at once, or even the second one later on. That's just such a new concept. It's such a new thing for a console launch. I mean, the console launches have been pretty by the books, aside from the whole Kinect like craziness, but at least like it was a box and a box, but now, like here's Master Chief's helmet. You put it on, and you're Master Chief. That's the box.
Yeah. Let's see.
Well, do you want to just talk about just what we think about from both of them 2020 games?
Sure.
And just like outside of the boxes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was saying, well, obviously for Sony, we know Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, all that dreams are coming out. But as far as PS5 goes,
you think Horizon is the most likely, or is
if it's a sequel to a game that's already, a sequel to a game, I feel like Horizon most likely. Here's this thing, and here's just the problem whenever we do talk about what games coming out, we always go to sequels and series and stuff.
But who knows?
Because it's hard. You can't predict new IPs.
No, you can't.
So
you can look at studios and think,
yeah.
What's that one working on?
Yeah. But the thing is with Sony right now, they've had multiple giant games in the last couple of years, like, oh, these games are 100% getting sequels, because they were very successful, and in the games they set up sequels. Yeah. So I think Horizon 2 has a decent chance of happening.
I don't think this is gonna happen, but there's even a chance for like a Ratchet and Clank game, because Insomniac has multiple teams, and they made the 2016 Ratchet and Clank. There could be a launch title that's it'll
be the PS5's neck.
I have a feeling it would be better.
Just a cartoony
game. Yeah.
Show off.
But it would be. I mean, you could potentially have Horizon here for adults. Here's the Horizon 2, and for kids technically, but a lot of adults are going to play it. Here's Ratchet.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think that might be potentially likely. It's one of those things, though. If did they start making it? I guess they, for that to happen, they would have had to start it before they got bought out.
It would have to have been, and it would have to have been like
a while.
And also a secondary team from Spider-Man. Obviously, it would have to be, because in that time, I'm sure they were all hands on deck with Spider-Man, but it would have had to have been.
Well, and then immediately go and make Spider-Man 2, I'm sure.
No, I'm sure, yeah. But I mean, it's been enough time that I think that a subsidiary of Insomniac
it's been 4 years
could have done that.
Since the remake, reboot, whatever the hell you want to call it.
I don't like that. That it's been 4 years.
Yeah. Where you say you don't like the word reboot? What?
No. Sorry. Let me clarify. I love the game. I hate the passage of time.
If you're talking about me calling me a remake or reboot, it's like, what's wrong?
No, game's great. You're great. I love you. You're amazing. Passage of time sucks balls. And then what you going?
I feel like there's probably something I'm forgetting. I feel like we haven't got to see anything from Sony Studio Japan or whatever for a while.
Yeah. I guess we freaking Gravity Rush 2 and stuff.
That was a while ago.
A long time ago, yeah. I mean, I'm sure they do a lot.
They have multiple teams.
Yeah,
so.
they do a lot of other stuff. So I'm sure there's been other games.
That Demon Souls remake will probably be happening. Bluepoint's been teasing
What if
that.
that's a launch title? That could be a launch title.
No, I legitimately think it is. Bluepoint's been teasing that shit forever.
Whatever Blue Point's thing is probably that's
whether
probably
it's
gonna be a
Demon
launch
Souls
title,
or whatever, it's probably happening.
Yeah.
For launch. I mean, we're kind of forever. Sure. What else potentially?
I think Spider-Man's not ready. God of War is not going to be ready.
Godfall, whatever the hell that thing's called, is technically. I mean,
that's going to be.
Yeah. We know that's a PS5 game, and it's supposed to be Sony exclusive, at least on console at launch.
Yeah.
So that's going to be something they're going to be pushing hard.
It'll be another Anthem collapse. Another tried Destiny clone that just
that we will not play.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's a launch title, so it'll probably sell more than we expect. But
I don't think about other studios they might have. I don't know. Try to think of.
Yeah, it's kind of hard at this point to go much more in that. So we can transition over into Xbox. I think Sony's going to have a good year, obviously. Yeah. Last of Us, I think, is going to sell a ton. And Ghost of Tsushima is probably just judging off of Horizon and some of their other ones.
And here's the thing of with launches and all that stuff. To have a successful launch, especially for the PS5 and for Sony and Microsoft, you don't really need that many as far as their own studios games at launch. As long as the third parties are there, which they will be.
I mean, you could just have one. You could just have Horizon. Yeah.
Maybe another one to fill a different niche. Like the whole Ratchet and Clank thing, like they did with Killzone and that kind of felt hardcore, dude, bro, gamer, mature stuff, and narc.
I mean, I had literally not even thought about having a Ratchet and Clank potentially be that until we had this conversation.
I mean,
that was kind of makes sense.
A Ratchet and Clank and Horizon 2 would be a very strong launch.
It would. Certainly would.
Plus whatever else. For Microsoft, well, here's the thing. It's like you said, they only need maybe one or two games. They got Halo Infinite. I know that's going to be
that's the centerpiece for
sure. And I know that's going to be an Xbox One as well, but it doesn't mean it won't be successful. Or depending on the game, that'll be enough. That could be enough to get people to go ahead.
Psychonauts 2 is a launch. That's right. You have to wait all the way till holidays.
No, don't say such things. I want it now.
And I mean, no disrespect to Psychonauts 2. It's not a system seller.
No,
game. It's a
passion If it was a system seller, Microsoft wouldn't have needed to have bought out Double Fine. Double Fine would be fine.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, I expect stuff like that, like Psychonauts to come out before the launch.
Yeah, no, I was joking.
Yeah, was a joke. Saying. So Microsoft has a good kind of lead up to it. They got a bunch of games this year.
It's really hard. Microsoft's harder to predict. They have several smaller things. There's obviously going to be Ninja with Bleeding Edge.
Well, we know.
Is that name it? What is it called?
Bleeding Edge.
Bleeding Edge is obviously going to be out soon.
Yeah, we know Ninja Theory is not going to have anything because they got Bleeding Edge already and they got Hellblade 2.
Yeah, I'm just trying to go through the studio. I think a lot of them are going to be too tied down, or they have things they're releasing.
Obsidian's doing that Honey I Shrunk the Kids style game, and they just have Outer Worlds out, so they're not going to have anything.
Right. So that's why I think over this year, I think Microsoft's not really going to have many big heavy hitters. They're going to have several small things.
Well, and here's also the thing that they don't need stuff at launch necessarily because they're doing the whole thing where their games are going to be on both. Yeah. And they have Game Pass, so it doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah.
I do think it is important for them Halo at launch, so I think that's
I don't think it's likely, but what is the chance of a Fable 4?
I think there's a decent chance
for launch.
I think
it's more likely to be mid next year sometime.
I think Fable would be a good launch window game. Maybe not have that and Halo both for launch because of the both big games.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you get those two, and again, they're doing the whole cross-gen thing, so it doesn't really matter as much. But I think those are the right games to be hey, I know you can play this on Xbox One and PC, or this mainly for Xbox One crowd, but what about playing this game with these little extra juice?
Mm-hmm. And just before we look back on this and think oh yeah, we were idiots. I mean, it's an Xbox console launch.
Dead Rising,
Forza. There's gonna be some Forza there. You gotta sell your fancy new graphics with your Forza racing game. It's just how the world works. I don't know where we're at in the Forza cycle, but they're just going to magically make a Forza game.
Fair, yeah.
They're just going to appear. A Forza game, like Microsoft's like, we weren't even developing it. Where did this come from? Yeah. Just a new console came, so this game happened.
Darby, you know what the dream is? Banjo Tooie.
That is the dream.
That is the dream.
I think a new Banjo game will happen, but I think it'll be like 2021 or 2022.
I want to believe. Announce it, Microsoft, you cowards. And if it's not already being made, make it, you bitches.
Make it. And make Sly 5. Sneak into Sony, steal the rights. Just make it. Make Rare. Erase Sea of Thieves off the face of the earth and have Rare make Sly 5.
Now, Darby, stay with me for a second. I know this won't happen, but imagine if this year Microsoft announced Banjo Tooie for launch and Nintendo also announces Super Mario Odyssey 2. It's Psychonauts 2 also comes out. I'll be in 3D platformer heaven.
I am over here with my fifth playthrough of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah.
You've dreamed.
Anything else we want to?
No, I think that's a podcast.
It's a podcast.
It's a podcast.
I think we could generally agree that Xbox will continue with Game Pass as they are being aggressive with that. Do we think Sony will try to pick it up with PS Now?
In ways, I think like you're already seeing them start to try to do that more. I do. I
hate that time shit.
Yeah, but I guess if you want if you want to draw out like something close to a hot take out of me, I think that time stuff's gonna stop. I think that they're gonna be it because right now it's just too obvious that it's like I even saw people like whenever GTA 5 went on to Game Pass, they're just like, which this is a whole other thing. I'm not gonna go super into it, but fanboys are like something I hate more than almost anything in video games. And there are
we're seeing they're coming out of the woodwork now. The console things
I've seen on Twitter. It's like I've seen conversations that I haven't seen happen since 2013.
Darby, I'm glad we're not fanboys.
Oof, I'm like, fucking oof, like yeah. Do not attach your self-worth to a mega corporation. But anyway, I'm seeing a lot of those people, and there was like whenever GTA 5 was announced for Game Pass, there were people like, oh, Xbox like late as always, it's already on PlayStation Now, and the Xbox is late. And then the next comment below was like, dude, it just left PlayStation Now yesterday. What the fuck are you talking about? And that's I think that it's just too obvious right now that PlayStation Now is an inferior product overall.
100%.
And the fact that yes, it's starting to get big games now, but they're time. There's always Sony is trying to put one foot in the water, but not fully dive in. I don't think that the whole first party thing is ever happening with Sony, or if it does, it's going to be a long time.
It's going to be a good while off, and it's because Microsoft either surpassed Sony or catching up fast.
It would have to be more drastic because I think it's too much of a pillar.
Or they're seeing Microsoft, or something happens like Microsoft is they're just making more bank than ever thanks to Game Pass.
Yeah,
the normal thing, and then Sony's like, we want that,
but I don't think that is true right now. At least.
Oh no. Yeah.
I think
if it gets to a point and it's really really obvious.
I'm not even convinced Xbox is making money off of making more money than they would have otherwise. I think Xbox is losing money, but they're doing this to get player base, and I think that might be wise.
Yeah. I definitely think Game Pass is something they're losing money on now, but in the long run, it is going to help.
But you gotta realize, right now, Xbox's thing that gets me and you giving them money and gets them in everyone's minds is their services. It is Game. Game Pass is the thing that differentiates them from PlayStation. Sony's thing that differentiates them is their first party content. So it's not really a one-to-one Microsoft allows their first-party stuff on there, so now Sony does or whatever, because that is Sony's thing. If Sony puts that on there, then that's the ball game. Basically, that is they don't have that differentiate. You know what I'm trying to say? Xbox is getting more towards that because they're buying these studios, and it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be really interesting when Xbox is at the point where they have big games coming out left and right, and they're all on Game Pass, whereas Sony doesn't.
Yeah,
because right now Xbox allows all their first parties on there, but they're getting beat so damn hard by Sony on first party content in general that you really aren't getting an equivalent thing. Like if Sony did their first party content, that's a lot better games and a lot bigger games and more games than Xbox doing it.
Yeah. Luckily, Microsoft is getting better. We're kind of seeing. I mean, just watching that Hellblade trailer is like, okay, this is what being owned by Microsoft does for Ninja Theory.
Yeah.
Now, what will that do for an Outer Worlds 2 and stuff like that? What will this do for like a double? What will Double Fine be able to do with a budget?
Yeah. It's cool. Cool thought.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Hopefully, either next week or the week after, we will be doing our 2019 top 10 games, and we're going to come up with a bunch of other different wacky categories that we decide to do to have our winners in there. We're going to have Jacob Hamill in here. It's going to be a good time. It's mostly going to be the Jeff and Jacob show, and I'm going to be along for the ride.
Will I finally get best waifu into make best waifu category?
We can do it. I mean, it's Wario. I don't know why we're even wasting your time.
No. Wario was last year, Darby. Forgot. Just because
he's too good.
He
transcends.
He transcends time and space with his farts.
With his farts. Goodbye.
Bye.